We've got video footage that we're going to break out to articulate for you things that took place in the meeting so you could see piece by piece how the chairwoman orchestrated a coup to take power from us and prevent us from being able to get the full endorsement of the Democratic Party.
I knew something was wrong going into the dscc meeting when they took away the ability for y'all to speak.
After being told on Tuesday, all candidates were told that we would get 5 minutes to speak on Saturday.
Yes. Now, all of a sudden, since the executive committee recommendation has come in, no candidates are allowed to speak.
That was the first sign of, okay,
they're doing something.
During the portion of the dscc meeting, which we are in now, is at the discretion of the chair.
Yes.
Is it the ruling of the chair that the candidates not be allowed to speak today?
I'm saying that I want to stay consistent with our directions to these candidates, and that we would show the video that they provided, that they would not give speeches here today, but we would show their speech, and we would allow them the opportunity to meet individually with our members before and during this meeting. So that's it. We're going to show the videos that they all sent to us.
I understand what you stated, but my question is it the ruling of the chair that the candidates not be allowed to speak today?
Is a ruling of the chair that we are going to show videos instead of having speeches here today. Thank you, Mr. Secretary.
So,
Mr. Wisham, will you please show the videos?
The point of order.
You're not being recognized, sir. Mr. Wisham, will you please show the videos?
There were people in the room who spoke up out. We weren't able to speak. There were several people who went up and spoke out against that.
There are candidates here in the room that have taken the time out of their busy schedule to come and grace us with their presence. So for those that are here, let them speak. And for the ones that are not, show the video.
My question is this is the Democratic Party, if I'm not mistaken, and that if in the past when I've come to these meetings, candidates were allowed to circle, pass out their literature, and then they were allowed an opportunity to speak. What I'm hearing today is that what's happening is somebody else is making the decision for us who are present here, the members of the Democratic Committee, and you are telling us that we don't have the right to hear these people.
They sent the police in. What seemed like the biggest police officers they could possibly find, and the room was split. It's the House floor, so you got a few people trickled along one wall, and then basically Gary's entire support system on one wall, and that's the only side that the police came in to sit on.
And the police did not know why they were there.
They didn't even know why they were there. So clearly somebody who is conducting this room has called the police to come stand on our side of the room in anticipation of whatever outbreak they're expecting to happen.
So let me be clear. When the police came in, I walked out.
This ain't his first rodeo.
I said, wait a minute. I said, now, I don't know what's going on over here, but I haven't done anything.
Yeah.
And they are here, which means that they're anticipating or something is going on that I don't know about. So I'm going to go out here outside this door. People in the room have never had a forum like this where the candidates did not speak. But it is at the discretion of the chair, and I want you to remember that word, that phrase throughout the entirety of the rest of this conversation.
One person makes the decision on
who can speak in the meeting. It is at the discretion of the chair if the candidates get time at the dscc meeting to speak.
And make sure you note that it wasn't a time restraint, because they showed y'all
They
videos.
played 10-minute videos rather than letting us talk for 5 minutes.
So instead of letting him talk in person for 5 minutes, you rather play everyone's full videos.
Once these videos are playing, the police are over there. They bring the candidates up for a vote. They bring up the congressional candidates for a vote.
On August 9th, the Executive Committee recommended Congressman Troy Carter, Congressional District 2, by acclamation. Therefore,
I move for acceptance by this body. On August 9th, the Executive Committee recommended Tia LeBron for Congressional District 3. Therefore, I move for acceptance by this body. Representative Johnson.
Yes, Mr. Executive Director, I'd like to make a motion that the body accept the Executive Committee's recommendation for congressional candidates.
Of the new bylaws that were placed in by March, you can either accept the candidates they recommended or deny an endorsement.
The body can accept the recommendations or they can reject the recommendations. And we're just doing Congress. We haven't started Senate or PSC.
They passed out the voting ballots. Everyone accepted it.
Smooth process.
And they got their endorsements.
On August 9th, the Executive Committee recommended Congressman Troy Carter for Congressional District 2 by acclamation. Therefore, I move for acceptance by this body. On August 9th, the Executive Committee recommended Tia LeBron for Congressional District 3. Therefore, I move for acceptance by this body. Representative Johnson.
Yes, Mr. Executive Director, I'd like to make a motion that the body accept the Executive Committee's recommendation for congressional candidates.
With the new bylaws.
So
Say it together. New bylaws. Dum, dum, dum.
And then
somebody stood up.
The assailant. And let me be clear. The individual who stood up and did this at the meeting, I'm not going to say her name because I'm not going to even give you that level of shine. If the people find out who you are and they discuss you, that's okay. But I'm not even going to mention your name to give you that level of platform because that's what you want. This person was passing out my opposition's push card to the local Democratic Party while I was standing up speaking at the meeting to the local Democratic Party. And so when I say that there have been deliberate attempts by people within the institution of the government, meaning elected officials, or the institution of the party, who every time that I have been considered for public office have done everything in their power to prevent me from winning. And the time that I win by your rules, you change the rules in the middle of the motherfucking game.
Right in the middle.
And yeah, I cussed. I said it. I ain't letting him edit it out.
I wasn't going to.
And we watched the chair, the executive director, and this person pass back and forth a piece of paper. They present this resolution.
The U.S. Senate and...
Hold on. Let's just collect.
Wait, Representative Marcel, you had your hand up.
To the executive committee and certainly the chair of this party, to all the members here, I rise because there has been a great amount of confusion in the democratic process of these next two races that we're looking at. The bylaws are the bylaws. That should have been communicated. If there is a rule that a candidate should have had someone to nominate them within 5 days of this meeting, it was very simple. You could have emailed all of us and the candidates to tell them that. I propose that we change the process that we're doing in the future. But on today, I propose a resolution to reject the Executive Committee's recommendations for both the U.S. Senate race and the PSC Commissioner for District 3. I further propose a resolution that the entire dscc as a whole endorses all candidates. It is Gary Chambers, Luke Nixon, and Sarita Stein for the U.S. Senate race, and all candidates. The resolution should also read as a whole that we endorse all candidates for Public Service Commission for District 3. And I think that's fair.
These rules are no longer good rules once it gets to the Senate race.
2 seconds later.
2 seconds after, you just voted in a whole swath of people
a whole swath
by
of
saying yes or no.
yes or no.
So we get to the Senate race and it's like, we just got these rules. I don't think it's fair. We haven't gotten a chance to review them, even though you just used them. And, we're going to see, let's just endorse everybody. This is a democracy. We're going to be fair here, right? We're just going to endorse all of the candidates at one time.
Currently, what we have before us is a resolution a resolution, not a motion, interesting, but a resolution, proposing to discharge the executive committee's decision and bring it before you, this body, on those two matters. Now, what does the rule say? The resolution must be submitted. It's not a shall, but it's a must be submitted 15 days before this body. And it must go to the resolutions committee. These deadlines may be suspended or waived at the discretion of the chair. Therefore, if the chair waives the requirement, the resolution is proper, but it is not to be voted on by this body. It must be voted on by the resolution committee. It was asked of me, can the resolutions committee meet now? Is at the discretion of the chair. Where we stand right now is I have a written resolution signed by a member of this body. So therefore, the resolution is proper.
Thank you, Mr. Parliamentarian. As chair, I hereby appoint the Resolutions Committee to hear this proposed resolution. The committee is mandated to report back in 15 minutes or less. We stand here in recess until the resolution committee.
Who's on the resolution committee? Are members of the resolution committee present?
Please stand.
Please stand if you are members of the resolution committee.
At this point, we all hold our breath and look at
We
each
like,
other.
oh man,
We
it's
like,
going
oh,
to the,
shit.
who is the resolutions committee? Then they say, are there members of the resolutions committee in the room?
They start standing
They
up one by
start
one.
standing up.
The resolutions committee members start standing up.
Can I shout out Kathy?
We go, Kathy Hurst.
Kathy stood up and was ready.
And Michael Adams, the chair of the resolutions committee.
Yeah.
We start watching them stand up one by one.
We was like, oh,
we were like,
oh, we got the resolution.
We got the resolutions committee. Okay? The resolutions committee goes into the back. They read the resolution. They come out of the room. It was a down vote, 5-2.
Resolution committee voted by 5-2 not to support that resolution coming before the body.
Okay. Again, by 5-2, the resolution was not reported favorably by the committee. According to the bylaws, this body still votes on that resolution.
The executive committee's recommendation would be voted yes or no. And I agree that that warrants correction, that my expectation was that there would be a slate. And so I encourage the bylaws committee at their very next meeting to make amendments to the process. As of now, we are trying to make, based on the legal counsel's opinion and ruling on these bylaws, along with parliamentarian, a process by which to give this committee the ability to have a vote on the matter. Ms. Temple. The initial recommendation of the executive committee. Yes. Derek, can you please, Mr. Shepherd, you have the numbers in front of you.
Yeah, the initial recommendation of the executive committee on August 9th was 9-7-2. 9 votes for Mr. Chambers, 7 against Mr. Chambers, 2 voted abstention.
The chair calls for the vote. People vote. There are not 100 people in the room, okay? There are not 100 people in the room. The chair calls for the vote. They go in the back. We send somebody in the back from our team on the legal team to go count the vote with them. And the vote comes out 80-40 for the resolution to be heard. There are not 100 people in the room.
That's 120 votes.
We know that we are about 45-30 in our vote of what's present in the room.
The room voted.
So if it had been the room, we win. But because the chair has votes in her pocket, she puts them in the proxy. She makes the resolution proceed to a vote. The resolution proceeds to a vote, and that causes a debate.
The two candidates we're trying to strip of their endorsements are both black.
The recommendation came for Gary Chambers. He's a good man. He's a qualified candidate. And it's our job to accept it or reject it. And I'm saying, give me the opportunity to vote to accept Gary Chambers as being our candidate that we're endorsing.
Gary Chambers earn the endorsement.
I believe that it is impossibly unfair that Gary Chambers is not receiving the endorsement.
Mr. Chambers and Mr. Lewis fairly got the endorsements and recommendations from the executive committee.
And we show support for candidates who look like us, who believe in what we believe in, who will go to the Capitol and fight for the things that we believe in. And the bylaws, the same votes that we said today, every other candidate that we voted for was up or down recommended by the executive committee. But when it comes to these 2 seats, all of a sudden we want to make changes, but we could approve everyone else today through the same process.
We have given each side ample time. We have to give a certain number of minutes to each side, then 3 minutes for this side, 3 minutes for the other side, but we can't stay in here all evening.
She calls the vote, she goes in the back, she pulls these votes out of packet, she passes the resolution.
We have 88 yes, 36 no, 2 abstentions, and 3 inconclusive ballots. That resolution has passed.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I want to congratulate all of our endorsed candidates. I want to recognize that there are some deficiencies in this process and show our commitment to resolving them in the future. Thank you and congratulations to all of our candidates.
Wait, we have to do it properly, please.
Can we please have someone offer a motion to adjourn?
The most egregious parts about this is she never verified the proxies when we asked about verifying the proxies. She never let us participate to verify our proxies, people that were assigned to us to find out where our proxies are allocated for. And if the chair lady could suspend every rule that she set in March in order to say that this is the endorsement process, right after you just endorsed 4 people with this exact same process, and then to say that this is to unify the party, but who are you unifying it for?
The room never got to vote for Gary.
Or against me.
The room never got to vote against Gary.
She essentially made it her mission through this meeting to make Gary irrelevant. And he had earned it solely.
The room never voted to endorse all the candidates.
Never.
The room never voted for anything. The entire discussion of the U.S. Senate race was whether or not we was going to accept this proposal.
Yeah.
The room never voted to endorse all 3 candidates.
Some folks might say, "Oh, he just mad it didn't go his way." No, I played by their rules.
And beat it when they changed them.
I beat the rules when you change the rules to try to prevent me from having any recourse if I did not get the endorsement. And then you jump every single procedural practice to ensure that your man get it anyway. And listen, this is what I want to say to Mr. Mixon. You say you're an honorable man, that you respect democracy, and that you're defending democracy. But they ain't no different than an insurrectionist and Katie Bernhardt right now, because all she did was jump every rule she could to get her way.
She denied the party the ability to make a vote.
Absolutely.
They did not get to vote. Even the outcome that we came with the triple endorsement was not the vote of the body.
And I'm going to tell you, I don't want no endorsement that I had to steal. I think a part of the deal, or the reason people don't participate in politics, is because it's like this mythical wall. What happens behind the wall? How do you get into politics? How are you getting them? How does this work? How does that work? And I hope that this uncovered for you the democratic process, or the lack thereof, in a way that's meaningful. I will say to you, as a result of this not getting the single endorsement, I don't know where that's going to put us with the National Party, but I hope that the National Party looks at this, sees the viability of our campaign, steps in and makes corrective actions, but also does the work of helping us to be successful to defeat John Kennedy, because Louisiana is 34% black, 900,000 registered voters, 400,000 available voters to be registered. DNC, Jamie Harrison, send the bag, brother, and we're going to get it done.
If a black man can't win in the state of Louisiana, why are they bending over backwards to stop him from accomplishing it?
So I will end with these words. Won't you help me?
Won't you help me?
Won't you help me?